As a first-time landlord sharing our real estate investing journey online, I've gotten a lot of feedback, both online and in the real world. And all of that feedback has led me to make some changes in the last month. We are currently in the middle of screening tenants during our second month of having this rental property listed. And it's been a very educational experience. Let me tell you, I've learned a lot this month. So let me tell you where we're at with our rental property journey, because I'm sharing the entire experience, start to finish, good and bad. First, I will say I've officially dropped the rental price twice now because the local market has shifted. There is a shift in the home buying and the rental market right now, and things are just not going as fast. More people are cautious now, and committing to a higher rent is a little bit scary, and that has led to less demand in our area, so prices have dropped. It's also led to many of the rentals near me to drop their price, which is why I actually did the same. Personally, I would rather adjust the price than let the property sit vacant for a longer period or even a full year. With the economy being so uncertain and inflation hitting pockets really hard right now, I know that it's hard out there, and it made the most sense to follow the market, follow what's actually happening in people's real lives, and drop the price. So I've been navigating the market side, and we did make a change on the pricing, and I'm happy with that. And I've also been working on the other administrative side where we are having to stay organized and also make big decisions on who we want to rent to. That is especially true now that we're in the middle of actually screening tenants who have applied to live in this property. That is one of the biggest reasons why I've been using Baselane, and I've been using them since the beginning of this journey, and it is an all-in-one banking platform and financial management tool that is built specifically for real estate investors and landlords. It's a tool that combines everything in one place to give you a really simple and easy experience. Baselane is great because it replaces 6 to 9 different tools and puts everything in one place. Just be aware that Baselane is a financial technology company and is not a bank. Banking services are provided by ThreadBank. Right now, the tenant screening tools inside of Baselane have been especially helpful in our journey and where we are with getting tenants into the property. So the reason why I'm liking Baselane and their tenant screening is because I can have applicants fill out the rental application directly through Baselane, and then after that, they submit all of their information securely and they pay the screening fee themselves. So there's no awkward exchange of money where I'm asking them to pay an extra fee. It's all through Baselane. It's all really streamlined. Then within just a couple of minutes, I have a full report that includes their credit history, criminal background, eviction records, and income verification. I also really like that there are multiple levels for tenant screening inside of Baselane. You can run the basic reporting, and that includes the rental application. It is self-reported housing history, dependents, pets, vehicles, smoking, and more. You can double check that, but it is all self-reported. Then there is identity verification, which is a photo ID, and then the Equifax credit report that shows credit history, balances across all the credit reports and everything, and that is for $24.99. The great thing about Baselane is you can also do advanced reporting that just adds additional reports to that basic report as well. So this includes things like income verification, which includes pay stubs and bank transaction data, and that is an additional $10. You can get eviction reporting that shows eviction history from the largest database in U.S. housing court records, and that is updated daily, and that is an additional $10. And then there's also criminal reporting that checks national and local databases of 1.8 billion criminal records across 2,500 jurisdictions, and that's an additional $5. So you can get basically everything you need. You can get as much information as you need to make the right decision, and that is what I wanted. I wanted as many options as possible so that I could feel comfortable with the right tenant. For me, that means I can make faster, more informed leasing decisions without juggling multiple tools because I have everything I need in one place and I have all of those additional reports if I need them. I love that all the tenant screening is inside of Baselane and it all connects because then once I pick the right tenant, Baselane will make it easy to set up their online rent collection. I like that all of the administrative tasks that I need to do are made so much easier by using one tool, Baselane, and I can go from screening to rent collection to expense tracking, and it all stays in one dashboard. I'll leave the link in the description box for you to check it out. So back to where we are in the process. Like I said, we have dropped the rent. When I first listed the property, I priced it based on comps from earlier this year, about 2 months before, 1 to 2 months before, and they were really reasonable. I did not go as high as I could have gone, and after a number of showings and applications came in, but no one actually signed the lease, it was clear that the demand was just not there and it was cooling overall in our neighborhood. I do have a lot of local investor friends, and I talked to them, and they were also struggling to put someone in their properties. So I saw that listings were sitting longer. They were struggling to get the right tenant into their properties. So I decided to lower the rent the first time with a slight drop, and then I did do another one as well to make it more competitive. I don't personally want to have the most expensive rental in our neighborhood. This did work. I have seen an increase in inquiries and showings right away. People wanted to see it. There are people that are way more excited. And honestly, I kind of wish I had done it a little bit sooner, but this is all part of learning to be a landlord, learning how to rent a property, and learning what you need to do and how to be flexible and respond to market demand. Sometimes that means increasing your price. Sometimes that means lowering your price. And I'm okay with either direction, knowing that I'm learning lessons and this is something that is going to help me in the future. Because I lowered the price and we've gotten a lot more inquiries and showings, I am now going through the process of tenant screening, and it has been educational as well. That also means I make sure that I'm applying our criteria for who can rent the house to each applicant. So the goal is to find someone who's reliable and a good fit, not just the first person that applies. I also have pretty strict criteria on income. They need to make enough money that this does not overwhelm them or make them house poor. I also have pretty strict criteria on the credit score that they have. I have found that credit score is the main issue with a lot of the people applying, because if you have a good credit score, you are more likely to be buying a house. And if you have a bad credit score, that is unlikely, which is why you're renting in the first place. For me, this has been super educational because I've had to really adjust what I'm comfortable saying yes to and where my boundaries are regarding credit and past history. So I've had a couple of people that applied that didn't quite hit the right credit score. They were under the minimum that I had set. But after looking at their credit history and kind of getting the full picture, I could see that maybe a couple of years ago they had trouble. They made a few mistakes. They were young and they have tried to turn it around, but the scores just haven't caught up yet. I could also see that they were current on everything and that they were paying their bills right now, and they've been doing that for a while. So I could decide whether or not I felt like that was a risk I was comfortable taking or not. As someone that made a lot of mistakes in my past, and I've talked about personal finance for a long time online, I know that people make mistakes. I know that credit scores can get ruined. I know that things happen and life can be hard. So I am trying to be very holistic in how I look at applications and the criteria that I've set, so that I'm setting up myself for success and also whoever the tenant is, because I don't want them to get in a situation where they can't pay their bills and have to get evicted. That would be horrible for everyone. So it's been very educational, and looking at different people's credit reports and their histories has been an eye-opening experience as a new landlord, and learning what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. This month has been a great reminder that real estate is about adapting. It's about adapting to market conditions, to tenant demand, to your own learning curve, and also to the own criteria that you've set. We've had to make decisions that we weren't necessarily planning to make or thinking about before we went on this journey. Like, do we want to accept someone that has a slightly lower credit score or a bad history in order to get someone in the property faster? Or do we want to have the property sit longer and stay on the market and wait for that perfect tenant with the perfect credit score that we thought would be the best option? Would they come along? Basically, do we want the risk of having the property sit vacant for a long time now, or take the risk on someone that maybe leaves early for whatever reason and then the property is vacant later? Which one are we comfortable with? Which risk do we want to take? And that's been something that's been educational. In the end, we've decided to keep our criteria pretty high. While we have rejected a couple people for not meeting the criteria for this property, we are also saying yes to people that maybe don't meet every single point on the list. So that has been a very educational experience, what we're okay with and what we're not. We are learning so much as new landlords. And in the next video, I will hopefully share that we have chosen a tenant and how move-in goes, because we are a couple months behind schedule from where we thought we would be getting rental income. So hopefully the next steps in managing this property are having a tenant sign the lease and move in. Even though the market side and the tenant side has been a little bit difficult for me to manage, I have been so happy with being organized in all the administrative and back-end things. I feel like despite the problems we've had, we are doing really well in this journey. Eventually, we are going to be so glad that we rented this property out, I hope. And until that day comes, definitely watch this video next.